We just talked to Saahin Cheyenne. I'm fucking up his name, but that's okay. Super cool dude. Very informative, inspirational. I got all this, look at this stuff. He's been on Newsweek and The Guardian, The Observer. He's an author, podcast speaker. He's killing it. So check him out. That was really cool. Learned a lot. All right, here we go. So we're live. Another episode of the Robert Patton Global Podcast. I am here with a very special guest, Shaahin Cheyenne.
Good enough, my man.
No, Shaahin Cheyenne. We have a Cheyenne Mountain here in Colorado Springs, so it's a little bit different than the spelling of your last name.
Yeah.
Shaahin Cheyenne.
Shaahin Cheyenne. Yep.
Yeah, it's like, okay, Shaahin Cheyenne. That's how okay. So we're here with Shaahin Cheyenne. You are like a very accomplished entrepreneur, and I'd like to kind of learn as much as I can from your experience, and maybe we can have our listeners and followers get a lot out of this, and maybe, come to you for some of your services. You're an Amazon seller at this point, obviously.
Yeah,
because we sell on Amazon, and we do like 60,000 a month on Amazon, but you're talking like 350 million, which is right, something like that.
Yeah, we've done millions and millions of dollars on the Amazon platform, and I've got clients that do in the billions, and
wow.
I've got students that are just starting off selling on the Amazon platform. So I run a course where we teach people how to make money on Amazon. We are an Amazon seller as well ourselves. So if you guys want to check us out, it's fbasellercourse.com. But I learned a little while ago that if you want to have freedom in life in general, the thing you can't do is sell your hours. So How do you get out of doing that is by creating these recurring revenue businesses. So what are some recurring revenue businesses? Well, real estate's a great one. Mm-hmm. Tough time to get into real estate right now. Market's at an all-time high. I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah. What are some other ways? Well, the best way that we found is selling on this little platform that this little guy, Jeff Bezos, created, Amazon, where it's really become the great equalizer, where anybody can now start an Amazon business and run it basically while they're on vacation.
I could see that. It's like, but we have to monitor it. Amazon's a little finicky. It like seems to change the settings like randomly, where we have to upload the SKUs or ASINs, and the parent gets disconnected from the children, and so like for us it seems it's like kind of like a constant effort. Not constant, because you can go and let it ride for a little while, but you got to kind of keep an eye on things.
Yeah, I didn't say it's not work. I just said you got to get out of selling your hours.
Exactly.
Now, we encourage our students to have virtual assistants, VAs from all over the world, people who love to sell their hours for money, where the US dollar goes a much longer way. And they utilize the time of those people as opposed to their own. And look, Amazon's got its problems. Every business has its problem. The guy in the car wash today, I go to this car wash. I got this membership, right, where you can go every day and get a car wash. It's spectacular. I do transact most of my business while driving through the car wash. It's a great experience. But you go in and the guy's machine is broken. And he's got all these young dudes running around trying to like wash all the cars by hand because his machines are broken. And I think my problems are not as severe as that guy's problems. Right? And then I go to my friend's restaurant. My friend's got one of the best Thai restaurants in all of Los Angeles, and he can't find anybody to wash the dishes. So his chef, who's producing these incredible dishes, is there with the rest of the staff washing the dishes. So any business that you get into is going to have problems, is going to have issues. And that's really what the work of being an entrepreneur is. That's what sets an entrepreneur aside from a wantrepreneur. That's the difference. Right? Wantrepreneurs come in and they go, oh man, making the money is the business. No, The business is solving the problems.
Yes. Yeah, I was working for a tailor when I first got into the SHEATH underwear business. I went to learn to sew from an elite tailor. He was from Vietnam, and he lived at that store. And he literally lived there. From 7 a.m. to like 10 p.m. he was working, and then he'd sleep there. And I always thought, like, man, that type of service requires you to be there constantly. And that's not the ideal scenario for someone who wants to, well, selling a product is way better than selling a service from what I can tell at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, it depends, right? One thing we know about immigrants is that they are some hard-working mofos. And I know this because I'm an immigrant myself. We came to this country in the late 1970s, where people weren't so keen on people from my country, Iran. I didn't speak a word of English, and my folks had to do whatever they had to do to survive. My dad worked at pizza shops. He worked at a dry cleaners for nearly 30 years just to keep clothes on our back. And I remember when I made my first $100 million, just thinking back, going, man, you know, there is a way to work smart. But the fact is, you have to be willing to work hard. And I still have that mentality. Like, I'm here at one of the homes I've built in Venice Beach, and one of the walls has to get painted. Well, my painter's not here. What am I going to do? Rolled up my sleeves. I got out there and I painted a wall. I'm not the best fucking painter in the world. Probably not even very good at it, but I can watch the fuck out of a YouTube video and go out there and do it. And I did it. And people are looking at me going, oh my God, you're worth all these millions of dollars. You own this house. I'm like, yeah, you fucking got that right. I own this fucking house. And that's why I'm going to paint that fucking wall, because we get shit done. That's what we do.
Right. Yeah. I found, like, I was in the Army, and you got to get your hands dirty. You got to get in there with your team and work alongside them sometimes to earn the respect, and they'll be more willing to go to bat for you when they see that you're not too good to, you know, do the job yourself. I find that is very inspiring to them personally, I think, because we haven't had one employee ever quit in almost 10 years now, because we have a good company culture, and it sounds like you know how to lead as well.
Yeah, I actually use a hack that I learned from a guy who I admire, Adeo Resi, who used to work with Elon Musk. They used to be roommates actually back in the day. And he started a group called Founders Institute, which I'm a mentor in, which is one of the big tech incubators in Silicon Valley. I've been a member since the early days. And he gets people in, and then he holds up a stack of cash and he goes, anybody wants to quit right now, I'll give you $100. I think he was doing it originally, it was $500. He's like, I'll give you $500 cash if you quit right now. And so I've started doing that with employees. Please, if you're an employee of mine, don't watch this, because I don't want people just coming on. But once we hire people, day one, I get them on a call just like this one. And I say, buddy, I'll pay you for all the time all your hours. I'll give you $100 cash right now, and you can just quit. How do you feel about that? And people rarely take me up on that, because A, it builds value. They're like, shit, if he's willing to pay me $100 to quit, I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
B, hopefully we've hired people who want the job and need the job. But if they take that $100, that is the best $100 I've ever spent, which means all they care about is $100 and they don't care about the work. It's the best $100 I ever spent. It's so expensive to train employees. It's so expensive. Virtual assistants, employees, anybody like that. It's hard. It's expensive. It's not an easy task by any measure. So I love just making that offer to them. And it's a hack you can use in your business, because it's so much more expensive to fix the actions of somebody who doesn't want to be there. Now, if you want to be there and you don't have competence, we can train you in the competence part if you have all the other capabilities. But if you don't want to be there, dude, there's nothing I can do for you. Please take my money and leave.
Yeah, that shows the mentality. I like that. That's a nice little trick to see what they're all about, what's their main motive. And if it's money, I mean, we all want money, we all need money, but there's more to a job than the paycheck, you know.
Yeah. Dude, you got some underwear behind you? What is that?
That's our underwear. Yeah. I'm the owner of SheathUnderwear.com, and we are a multinational selling brand. We've sponsored the UFC champion of the world, and a lot of people that go on Joe Rogan, he's like the new Johnny Carson, everyone knows, right?
Okay.
And so anyone that goes on there is like a made man, I call them. And if they entertain me, if I really like their comedy or what they're about, we'll reach out to them and try to sponsor them and get them to represent Sheath. And it's been a relatively winning strategy for the last 5 or so years. I know you're getting into podcasts, and I love the name of your Instagram, the Hack and Grow Rich. I'm a huge fan of Think and Grow Rich, like it's my Bible. I'm assuming it has something to do with that.
Yeah. So we've got a podcast called Hack and Grow Rich where we share unconventional hacks to making money. Anybody that's watching this, I know we're live. Are we live on your YouTube or live on Facebook?
Oh, it's going to come out on Monday, actually.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, that's just live for us. Okay. Because I know StreamYard lets you go live also to those channels.
It does.
But yeah, so our podcast, Hack and Grow Rich, for anybody who wants to check us out on YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. We were getting close to 100,000. Now we're back down to 65,000 because of YouTube's algorithm, but we're going to get back up there. We've got over 1 million downloads.
Nice.
So check us out. We talk about unconventional hacks to getting rich. But with that said, I've got that. I've got my book Billion that just came out. How I became king of the thrill pill cult. Yeah, which tells the Herbal Ecstacy story, how I created $1 billion while I was in my teens.
That's crazy.
My Amazon course, for anyone who's interested, we'll give it to them for free. If you just mention RPG, I'm going to give away my email. It's going to be crazy. You guys can just email me directly. Is darkzess@gmail.com. darkzess@gmail.com. Email me and I will share with you my 1-hour Amazon crash course, A to Z, everything you need to know about selling on Amazon for free. So there's no obligation. I just want you guys to succeed. If I can help people succeed, I've made my money. That's successful. And then I've got a company called Podcast Cola, where
I saw that.
book people on awesome shows like this. And in fact, we should get Sheath started being booked on other people's podcasts, because I'm looking at it now, dude. There is a real shortage of good underwear for men that breathes. It's a problem.
Yeah, we've doubled annually ever since our inception. Except for this year's a little tricky because I feel like we're in a recession, but the year's not over. We're really heavily investing in our inventory to make sure that we are ready for any kind of viral moment, like maybe this podcast goes viral or something.
Yeah.
But we're like, every year we've always run out of inventory. So this year we're not going to run out of inventory this year. We're going to get ahead of it. And we really have been aggressive in that front. And now we got a little recession going on. So now we're kind of sitting on a little bit of product, but that's okay, because I feel like everything will balance out at some point.
Yeah, I'd wear these. I'm going to order some. These look amazing. And,
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a shortage of quality stuff, and I train too. So I train jits. I train Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Nice.
I do mixed martial arts as well. So it's a dream. If there, I notice you got some stuff that's bamboo. This is like super high quality, high end stuff. So I'm very impressed with this line here.
Thank you. Yeah, we're on Amazon, but I'm gonna have my Amazon manager email you so that he could get that free course and then see where that goes, because it's such an untapped market for, like, it's like 10% of our total revenue, or it varies, but it's growing, and we get a lot of our competitors buying our keyword, and then when people go to search for us, they find our competitor, and if they're not totally familiar with who you are, they might buy the wrong thing and be.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I'm very curious to hear more about your, how you've hacked Amazon, because it's not easy.
No, look, I started off in the supplement business. So I started this supplement company. The product was called Herbal Ecstacy. You guys can check out my book. It's on Amazon. There's a major motion picture that's being made on it right now by a company out of New York called Believe, who've got the rights to my life story right now. So they're going to be making a film. I just saw the trailer for it, so it's badass.
Wow,
But it's
cool.
it'll probably take about a year for that to come out. But in the interim, the book is out, and the book's pretty awesome. Again, Billy and How I Became King of the Thrill Pill Cult, where I talk about that story. And
How you became king of the what?
the Thrill Pill Cult.
Yeah, because the Herbal Ecstacy, that's a really good name for a pill.
Yeah.
What was it? Or what is it?
It was a combination of herbs that replicated the effects of ecstasy back in the 1990s. So back in the 1990s, ecstasy was like the big thing. Everybody was taking ecstasy. Yeah. And so I came up with this pill. I was a teenager. I had no money. I was sleeping on the beach. And before I knew it, we had made $1 billion in revenue. It was one of the biggest supplement companies, the fastest growing, I should say, of all time. Especially in the 1990s. So the story is incredible. But from there, I had an exit. I went on to creating all the technology for vapes. So all the vapes that you see now were born out of technology that I built. Yeah. So that was all technology that I patented and built. I had the first vape company that went public was my company. I sold it before it went public, but I did that. So all the core technology for that came from us. And then I had my kid, and I thought, man, I gotta stay on top of my stuff. I'm quickly approaching 50. I'm in my 40s, and I gotta improve my mental acuity if I want to be on top of my game. And so I came up with this pill in conjunction with one of the big pharma companies, and it was a nootropic, a brain supplement, one of the first really, really powerful ones, called Accelerol or Focus Plus.
Okay.
And I was trying to figure out how to sell it. And this was back in the day where you could get a hold of Jeff Bezos. He wasn't the richest guy in the world. And I thought, oh, well, this is cool. We got through the grapevine that Jeff was opening up the platform to third-party sellers, whereas before it was locked off unless you're selling books. Now you could sell anything on there. Well, let me put this stuff on there. It was expensive. It was about $130 so a month. So I put it up on there. It's much cheaper now if anyone gets it on Amazon. But I put it up, and I woke up to hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of orders.
Whoa.
And I thought to myself, man, there's got to be something to this Bezos guy. Let me look into him a little bit more. And the more I learned about him, the more impressed I was that this was not some like little Silicon Valley nerd. This was a financial genius, and he was soon going to become the richest guy in the world. I said that many times publicly. And I put all my eggs in the Amazon basket. We've been riding the Amazon wave. I became one of the leading experts on Amazon. And then I started this course, FBAsellercourse.com, for anybody that's interested, where we teach people how to start Amazon companies from ground up, which has been super exciting to see my students succeed. And I've got students that make 50 grand, 100 grand a month. I've got clients that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, millions of dollars a year. So it's all across the board. And, there's really no better opportunity for people who are looking for an additional stream of revenue than Amazon, in my opinion, at least.
So a couple things. I had this with a friend of mine. He paid this guy $35,000 to buy this like program where he would be buying, like, drop shipping stuff from Amazon. Like, so,
Yeah.
It's
a scam.
Yeah, he got scammed out of it. And I felt, I was like, this does not sound right. Like, you can't just pay someone. And why, if they could make all that money, why are they selling it to you?
Yeah.
Like, that was a strange. Like,
so guys, for you guys listening to us now, there's two kinds of Amazon courses that you could take. There are legit Amazon courses like mine, FBA Seller Course, where we teach people how to build a brand, how to build a business, and get rich slowly over time. Mm-hmm. The second type is a 20-something-year-old with a jacuzzi, some bikini babes, and a Ferrari or whatever in the background. And he's like, I'm going to make you rich, knowledge, money. And this guy's been doing Amazon for 15 minutes. I've been doing this stuff for 12 years. And what they do, because they don't understand branding, they don't understand brand loyalty like you've done with your products. They don't believe in product excellence. What they'll tell you is, hey, man, all you got to do is find this thing and then you could sell it on Amazon and you'll make money. And in fact, you don't need to hold any inventory because they'll hold the inventory for you. And you can they'll ship it for you. The problem is there's 50 other bozos out there with the same idea. And the guy who's doing that course isn't interested in you making money in the long run. He just wants your money for the course. Yeah. So I recommend to people, when you hear the words drop shipping, run. Yeah. And Google the people you're looking at. I tell people this all the time, dude. Success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. I think Jim Rohn was the one who popularized that, or it was Tony Robbins, one of those guys. And it's really true. Google people, right? You can Google me. You can see the hundreds of millions of dollars that I made. It's online. It's on big news, right? Newsweek, London Observer. I had 2 Newsweek covers, People Magazine, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. You can easily see that. But when you Google people and all you see is their Insta, you see the guy's been around for 15 minutes. You see that he's selling something like drop shipping. Don't spend your money on him. And truthfully, there's nothing you need to be spending $30,000 for. There's great information online for free. And again, reach out to me. darkzess@gmail.com, darkzess@gmail.com. Our course, it's $200. I'll give it to everybody watching this for free so we can put back a little karma into the world for your buddy who got ripped off by those dubious
but you gotta know. I was like, dude, are you serious right now? But I didn't want to say anything because he's my friend, and I don't want to be like, are you stupid? But like, and you getting rich sometimes involves risk taking, and you try. But that just seems, if it sounds too good to be true, there's a good chance it might very well be. If you got to do work, you got to put in some effort, and if somebody's saying they're going to do it for you, it's like, I don't know. You got to use like the smell test.
Yeah. There are companies that will build a brand and put it out there for you. And that's something that has merit and it's worth looking at. And, I don't blame people for doing that kind of stuff. Right. But just anything having to do with drop shipping, I'm really sorry to say is almost always a scam when you see those Amazon courses.
And then, so you've been working with Amazon for 12 years. The margins are, I feel like you get if you made 10,000, let's say, you get a payout of like 7, if you're lucky, maybe 6 or 5, depending on, so have you figured out how to advertise with that low ACOS, a cost of acquisition? And just curious, because that's part of it, right?
Yeah. So, we teach our students how to do that. And there's a couple answers to that. One is that there's really great software in companies. So once you scale and you get up to a point like you're at, there's great companies, and we can refer some to you as well, that do specifically that. We're more of the mind of hiring people that are dedicated to doing that type of work and putting them in the unique position of managing our accounts. So we've got very specific people, usually in Eastern Europe, that specialize in managing that ACOS and know all the tips and tricks and hacks. Like, there's a certain time where people are just browsing and a certain time where people are buying. So when any of that stuff happens, we've got somebody that knows how to do it, and they know how to manage that. I make it a point not to be a micromanager. I find the best people at what they do. I pay them fairly for their work, and I have them produce results. And that's what I recommend my students do as well.
So how are you using like podcasts, or how it seems like you're a podcast expert now, and you are able to increase revenue through the podcasting. What do you say about that?
Yeah. So check us out at podcastcola.com. I think you'll like that. Podcast Cola is our podcast agency. So when I launched my bulk billion, my publicist and my agent and everybody who's working for me was like, look, you got to go the traditional way. You got to get a publicist. You got to do TV. You got to do like all that stuff. And I was like, you know what? Somebody will watch that and they'll forget it tomorrow if they're home. Who the fuck watches TV anymore? I don't even have TV.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
So I thought, what do I listen to most? Podcasts, right? Joe Rogan. It's on. I feel like I know Joe Rogan. I feel like Joe Rogan's my buddy. I don't know this guy. I know nothing about him, but I feel like I know him. Why? Because I've spent hours, hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
Right? Listening to this dude. So with podcasts, you get to sell the most powerful way possible through the power of story. People get to know you through this long form story. You get to position yourself as an authority. So I did some research. I hired some really amazing data scientists, some publicists, and I sat them down and I said, hey, get me on 200 podcasts. They figured it out. We broke the code. And so we started hiring these girls, these publicists from all over the world. And we're growing. We're hiring all the time, publicists. And they started booking us on these shows. And now people came to me and they're like, hey, man, I got a book. I got a CPG company. I'm a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. Can you get me on podcasts? And we say, yeah. And we plug them in and we just cook. Like one of our clients is an author, Fred Joyle. He's a guy who came up with 1-800-DENTIST, created $1 billion in revenue. He's got a book called Bold. And we got him 75 podcast interviews, high quality podcast interviews last month. 1 month alone, dude.
Wow.
75. So
I've been trying to get my team to get me on podcasts because I love being the interviewer, but I enjoy being a guest more because then it's about me.
Well, here's the thing, right? How much money do you spend building your audience, cutting your videos, producing content, doing all this, right? It's expensive. Mm-hmm. And the impact that you have comes over a very long course of time. What's the alternative? Use somebody else's platform.
Yeah.
Borrow somebody else's audience to do what you want to do. So reach out to me after this. Let's book a time. Dude, I will crush it for you with Podcast Cola because we'll get you on all the shows. And for you, the ROI will be so easy with your company because if you're pitching SHEATH, that's a no-brainer.
And I have a story too, because I want to get to your story because that's too fascinating. The 15, 16-year-old kids creating $1 billion company. But I came up with SHEATH in Iraq on my second tour. So and there's a lot of, I had a previous invention that I had given up on because it was too hard. And so I knew when I came up with the idea for SHEATH, because how often you get like $1 billion ideas? You get a couple, you get a few maybe in your whole life. Yeah. And I came up with these keys, like basically decorative keys, jewelry keys when I was in 20, but I gave up because I couldn't figure out how to manifest it. And then a few years later, I see them in stores and I felt like I had gotten kicked in the gut. So when I came up with the idea for SHEATH, I was just like, I'm not quitting on this. I'm going to figure it out. Because once you quit, it's over, obviously. Yeah. But how did you have that mentality at such a young age and like get it done and follow through?
First and foremost, thank you for your service, man. Yeah, I knew you were a badass just from looking at you. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
I came from the third world.
Yeah.
I dropped out of grade school.
Nice.
I had nothing. Everything that I've had in my life, I've had to build and I've had to create by myself. I came to school, I had a major in getting my ass kicked. Every single day I'd walk in and there'd be some kid waiting there to hand it to me, and
where were you? In Cali?
I was in LA. Yeah.
Okay.
I was in LA, but it was a different time. There was a lot of racism. Yeah, people didn't want us here, and I was like, "Look, man, our country's fucked at the moment. So we came here as refugees. It's America, right? Land of the great, home of the free, all that stuff." And they were like, "No, not here.
Not for you, buddy."
And I would, not for you, buddy. And I would get the shit kicked out of me every day.
Oh, no.
But you know what? I learned how to fight, and I learned how to stand up, and I learned how to get up. And every day I would come, they would knock me down. I'd get up, and I'd fight back. Until one day they couldn't knock me down anymore. And And I learned, right? And I learned, and I carry that with me even to this day. You know, I know where I came from. I know how hard I worked to get to where I am. I know that I did it without stealing from anybody. I did it without hurting anybody. You know, I mean, of course, along the way, there's little mistakes that you make, and you know, people invariably might feel treated unfairly. But in general, you know, I feel like I've done it in a way where I can be proud of my achievements and my accomplishments for my children. You know, and I think it's no small feat. And when I look back at my life and like all the things that have happened, I'm like, you know what? Like I had it pretty good. Somebody else looking back goes, man, you like left home, you had no money, you had nothing to eat, and you had such a rough run. I'm like, yeah, but that's what makes me who I am. And I'm sure the same for you. I'm sure you've seen some shit. I'm sure you've had some fucking insane experiences being deployed twice and, you know, being in war. That's no fucking joke, man. You know, but it's made you who you are now. You built a fucking company. You built this like this amazing company, and now you're doing something, and you wear that. That's who you are. That built your personality. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah. But there's something about us, like you and I, it seems in a way, like you kind of want to teach it. You want to give back. You want to give that good karma, you know, because that helps you grow. You can keep growing, and rather than being like Scrooge McDuck guy who just wants to, you know, make all the money and hide away or hoard it. You know, I spend like a lot of the money we make goes right back into the company, and
is that right?
Growth. Oh yeah.
So I put it to you this way. That's a really good question. So the answer to this is, first and foremost, I'm interested in improving the quality of life for my family and myself. Okay. First and foremost. Why? Because if you are down, you don't inspire the people around you. So you have to focus on yourself. Family first. You got to focus on your family. You got to focus on yourself. You got to get your life in order. I tell people all the time. Because when your life's in order, when you relax, when you don't have to worry about money, when you don't have to worry about selling your hours, you go out there and there's a certain attractiveness to you as a human, and people are attracted to your vibe, to your energy. They're like, oh my God, look at this dude, right? He's living the life I want to live. And you lead by example. And if you're able to do that, to lead by example, you don't have to help anybody. There'll be a line of people coming to you being like, hey dude, help me this way or that way. And you can pick and choose what you want to do. Right. So I tell people this all the time. I don't go out there randomly helping people at all. In fact, if you want to get on my roster and you want me to coach you, to mentor you, I'll do it. But you got to make it very convincing for me. A while ago, you know, I used to mentor and coach a lot of younger people because I wanted to learn how to motivate and inspire people to become successful. And again, it comes back to what we were talking about earlier, is that you can't help somebody who doesn't want to make the change.
Right.
And I am now only coaching people, only mentoring people, only accepting people into my Amazon course that are like, dude, I'm fucking ready to do whatever it takes. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fail until I succeed.
Yes. Fail to success. Fail your way to success. Because you keep trying and you'll figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's a Michael Jordan quote. I failed and I failed and I failed. That is why I succeed.
He's an inspiring motherfucker, man. He really is.
Well, there's a lot of similarities from all of the successful people. And then what sets them apart from the rest of the herd is, you tell me.
So it's a little bit of a loaded question, but I answer it to you this way. So there's successful people that are complete assholes. We all know that. We all know successful people. So success doesn't check to see if you're a nice guy. Right? Success doesn't check to see if you're a good person. There's a lot of assholes, a lot of not good people that are very successful. So what is success? Well, there's a professor that I follow. He wrote a book called The Success Formula. I strongly recommend it. And in his book, he went and he researched all the people that are successful and finding commonalities using advanced algorithms, science, and all this. And he found that people that are successful have two traits. One is performance. Michael Jordan, you damn well better know how to play basketball. But the second might surprise you. It's network. It's having access to a network. So if you and me decide, and you and me have a little podcast and we're okay in the world, but we're not huge. We're not hugely famous.
Not quite
to introduce a cryptocurrency, right? It might do well, might not do well, but chances are it'll do average. Okay. If Elon Musk came out tomorrow and said he's got Tesla coin, how do you think that would do?
Through the roof,
right.
baby.
Why? Because of who he is. Because of his network.
Yes.
He'd call up all the people in Silicon Valley. Everybody be jumping on it. That's an extreme example. So when you look at somebody like Basquiat, one of the great artists of the pop art scene, he worked with Andy Warhol. His art, when art historians look at it, are like, you know what? His art's about average as far as the performance goes. It's not bad. It's actually it's cool to look at. I love his art. I think it's amazing. But
was he the homeless guy, or is that?
He was.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a African-American guy who is one of the most important artists of the last 100 years, right? But what he did was he seeked out Andy Warhol. Now, what did Andy Warhol have? Network.
A connection. Yeah.
Network.
Yeah.
And through that, mushroomed. And now if you want to get a large size Basquiat, you're looking 50, 100 million, maybe more.
Nothing. That's no problem.
Yeah.
Too easy. Well, okay. So that kind of coincides with my strategy. And sometimes you get lucky, or, you just think something's going to work. And my idea was get MMA fighters to weigh in SHEATH, because they have to weigh in their underwear.
Yeah. 2,
comedians break through this barrier of resistance for people who might not be open to a new idea. And so with those 2, and then Joe Rogan, who is like the pinnacle of the network, if he knows Elon and everybody. I'm surprised he doesn't have Bezos on. That would be interesting, actually.
Yeah.
But
I think Bezos doesn't care anymore. I don't think Bezos is going on podcasts.
Do you talk to him?
No. I mean, I used to be, before he stepped down, we used to be able to email him at least and get a hold of him, but I'm not like buds with him like that.
Yeah.
I have had communication with him in the past, but those are the old days.
I say that we're partners because we technically are business partners.
Totally.
He just takes a cut of everything.
Yeah. 100%.
But he created it. He created that platform, and you're still actively just really like excelling yourself on there.
Yeah, every day. So we've got 300 active products now on Amazon across multiple different companies that we manage and run and operate, and everything does super well. We've been doing it long enough. Some of the companies we sell from time to time when the numbers are right and we get good offers, and otherwise we stay there and we rock it, man. I make most of my money on Amazon. And I make it as a seller. So, the course, the agency, all that other stuff that I do, I really do mostly to inspire people. So my goal is to inspire as many people as I can to create predictable, recurring revenue streams on a daily basis. Because look, I've done it. I've created the wealth. I've created the success. Most of my time now is spent. I travel with my family. We travel all over the world. And while we're traveling, we're making money. We make money through the Amazon platform.
What about when you're sleeping? I'm just kidding.
While I'm sleeping too, man. I love sleeping. One of my good buddies, Dr. Michael Bruce, the sleep doctor, always talks about that. And in fact, I got to get some of your underwear to sleep with, because no one should sleep in regular underwear.
No, you'll see. The pouch is, a lot of guys put a pillow between their legs because you got like all the skin and the sticking and whatever.
Yeah.
We have over 20,000 5-star reviews. We've sold like over 250,000 pairs. People that love it. And if they don't love it, like they still like it. It's still really good. But the people that love it, they'll come back and buy like 30 pairs at a time. And I'm really grateful. Do you like, do you have that gratitude kind of mindset? Is that part of everything? Yeah.
Yeah. I love doing cool shit. And I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're selling underwear, you're selling socks, you're selling supplements, whatever it is. I like doing cool shit. And I'm grateful every day that I can sell cool shit that improves people's lives. And I'm sure you feel the same way. You're not making just some bullshit. There's a million fucking pairs of underwear out there. Who gives a fuck? You're like, no, we're going to make the best fucking pair of underwear that's going to meet a very specific need. And it's not going to be cheap. If you're a cheap ass motherfucker, go buy Hanes or Fruit of the Loom or some shit like that. But if you care about your junk, then buy our stuff because it's the best that you can get. And then you tell that story, you tell that story and you crush it. And I love that. I mean, look, it's a function of you putting out into the world what makes you great, which is the ability to show excellence and to show up. Most people don't show up. Like your first idea, maybe that would have been a good idea. Maybe it wouldn't be bad, but I'll tell you what, 99% of people ended even before where you ended up. They just never do it. People don't try. Why? Because they're afraid of failure. They're afraid of success. People go out there, they're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. Like if I start, I could fail. So I tell my students, I say, motherfuckers, get out there and fail. They're like, fail?
Yes.
Yeah. Have $10,000 that you can burn. That you can go drive Uber. It's not hard to make money these days. I hate to say people are like, oh, it's easy for you. You've made hundreds of millions. You've got Ferraris, Porsches. You got all these properties, all the stuff. You're super rich. I'm like, no, look, I work hard for every penny that I got. Believe me, I don't buy new things unless I need them. But even with that said, if you want to succeed, you can earn 10 grand. When you got 10 grand, go out there and try to fail. I tell people this all the time. Because when you go out with that attitude where, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to try to fail. Okay. Now, we're going to do it intelligently so we don't fail. We're going to use proven systems, educated systems to do it. But when you go out there with that attitude, it doesn't matter. If you burn the 10 grand, you've succeeded because you've learned, right? Exactly. If you lose, don't lose the lesson. And if people go out there with that mindset, with that frame of mind, like ready to go, you're not going to fail. You're going to succeed. The guy that goes out there and kind of like dips his toes in the water and then like pulls out, oh yeah, I don't know. No, you got to go commit. You have to commit to whatever you do. You have to take ownership. And part of that is like, man, I'm not fucking scared. Let's go.
I'm gonna show you something because I quit on that first idea, and it did become a huge idea. It was like in Home Depots and Walmarts, and like if you buy a key with the football team on it or a flower. I had that idea like 5 years before it ever came out, and I just didn't follow through. But this is what I did as a result. You see that? Nice. And I was just like, I want to do something that will commit me. Like you said that word commit. Like, and I was like, if I get a tattoo on my back, I can't quit, and because if I did quit with this tattoo on my back and I'm walking down the beach, Venice Beach, and someone's like, hey, what's that tattoo? And I say, oh, that's a dream I gave up on a while back, So I see like a lot of, not a lot, but successful people like Wiz Khalifa, or there's a few people that have like, they'll tattoo their name on their back. And I feel like it's just, I don't even know I'm not saying you have to tattoo anything on your back, but it does form like a commitment in a way.
You're a committed motherfucker. You take ownership of your shit. Yeah. You're like, I'm going to do this. I don't give a fuck. It's tattooed on my back. I'm ready to go. I get you, man. I get you. And that's what's lacking from most millennials. Like, oh, I don't know. Like, do you want to go to lunch? Ooh, okay. Can I call you tomorrow? No, motherfucker. Tell me now. I want to know what you want to eat, where you want to go before I sit down. I know what I want to eat. Commit, right. Take ownership. People don't do that. And you know it because you've been in the military. If you're fully armed going into active fire, can you go in half committed? Can you go in and dip your toes and step back? No. Because we all know what happens when that happens, right? And business is like that. Business is war. right? Business is war. There's 50 million, there's some dude standing around selling underwear, waiting to take your spot. There's a dude right now, is probably listening to this podcast going, how can I take over that guy's share? So you have to stay 1 step, 2 step, 10 steps ahead.
Always grinding. Yeah, I'm always like, every day is it's a constant, it's an obsession, you have to be obsessed if you want to. I don't know if that's true, but I tell people that, like, if you want to be successful, you better be obsessed, or good luck.
Yeah.
Because the people out there are going to be like just think of Michael Jordan, the greats, that they dedicated their entire life to this one thing, and like put blinders on, and just, you can't be half-assing. You might be able to. Some people are lucky, like they got the right connection. Maybe they were born into it. There's a lot of ways to be rich, but for those of us who build it ourselves, it comes from within. Yeah,
sure. Look, if you're a pretty girl, you might be able to marry rich, right? That happens, and then you live your life, and it's great. It happens every day, right? But there's ways where you can get lucky. Luck does happen. People, there's what is it? You wake up with a golden goose or whatever. That shit happens. But I wouldn't fucking bank on it. I'm not putting my family's future on luck. Right. And who was it who said, I think was it Abraham Lincoln? It was one of those guys, one of those old timey guys. He said, I absolutely believe in luck. The harder I work, the more of it I have.
Yeah. Or the more likely you're going to encounter a lucky situation. Because like we're preparing with buying all this inventory aggressively, that one of these mini podcast YouTuber fighters goes viral and we get lucky, quote unquote, But I will have prepared myself to be put in that situation where luck can, rain down on me. But you don't get lucky if you don't buy it, take action. You're not just gonna be sitting there and wake up with a golden egg.
Yeah, you gotta place your bets, and you gotta have enough bets in enough places. You gotta have long-term bets, short-term bets, medium-term bets. There's got to be all that stuff in line for you to be able to succeed, because you're not going to succeed unless you've got something on the cooker, right? There's going to be no dinner if you're not cooking anything. So you got to be cooking something. And so, you know what? Sometimes it'll come out great, and sometimes it won't come out that great. But that's okay.
Because you learn to do it better next time, and in the process.
Yes.
So what like, do you have any tips that like free tips for people that are trying to sell on Amazon? Like right here? Yeah,
get my course. I mean, it's an hour long of tips. So go hit me up, darkzess@gmail.com, darkzess@gmail.com. Mention RPG in the subject heading, and I will send you the 1 hour course for free. And really, look, what it comes down to is getting out there and doing it. Like you said, one thing we know for sure, and I will guarantee you this 100%, if you don't try, you won't succeed.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you just got to do something. So after you're done listening to this podcast, take one action, right? Because you're not listening to this for your own health. So get out there and take one action that's going to lead you to something that's going to look like success for you. And it could be sending me an email, getting a part of the course. It could be doing some other project, reading a book, maybe you can start an Amazon account. I could teach you how to do it for free, but if not, there's lots of ways to do that. But that's ultimately what you want to do.
Did you do you have a master's degree in business?
No, I'm a high school dropout, man.
Okay, so you never went back.
No, I don't even have a high school diploma.
I love it.
You learn it. I got a master's from the School of Hard Knocks. I got a master's from getting the shit kicked out of me every day. I got a master's from being in business and learning how to sell on the streets, person to person, something I've done for years and years and years. And you got to learn to become a salesperson in life. You got to sell one of two things. It's a product or a service, or you go out there and you get a fucking job and you work for someone else. But you either selling a product or a service. And either one of those things can be good, but you have to know how to sell. You have to become a salesperson, and you got to do it through telling stories.
Stories. Yeah. So at the beginning of Sheath, I never told like the story because I wanted the product to speak for itself. But along the way, I was talking to other business owners, telling them, I would tell them the story. And they're like, dude, you need to tell that story. Like, people like a story, right?
Yeah.
So I love this podcast, Cola, and your mission with that is to help people get guest spots on other podcasts. Is that part of it?
Yeah, that's it. Just getting people booked on great shows, because it's the cheapest form of advertising. It's cheaper than Amazon PPC. It's cheaper than LinkedIn ads and Facebook ads and anything else you can do. If you've got a product or a service, you should be doing other people's podcasts and borrowing other people's audience. And we can help you do that. So if you're interested in being great shows like this one, reach out to us at podcastcola.com, book a time, and let's get you booked on great shows.
I'm gonna take you up on that, just because I've been telling my team, like, get me on some other shows, because for whatever reason, I shine when I'm a guest. Some of my best podcasts have been, as a guest, and it really is it's a pleasure. So not only do you get to advertise and promote your product, but then you get to talk with someone new, interesting, probably successful. Like, I'm talking to a multimillionaire here, which I wouldn't have the ability if I didn't, have this kind of podcast going. And I've been doing this for like 4 years. And we've interviewed best-selling authors. We had the #1 best-selling author on Amazon, Michael Malice.
Oh wow!
He was on that top. He was on top of Obama and Oprah and everyone for like a day, and that was pretty cool. And he's a friend of mine. Yeah.
Oh, dope! Amazing.
And then UFC fighters, champions, like I mentioned, and just different podcasters, comedians. Have you heard of Mark Normand?
No.
He's so funny. You have to check him
yeah?
out. Yeah, he was coming up under Jerry Seinfeld. Like, he works, but he was just with like Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr and all the big name comedians in LA recently for when Chappelle got jumped on. Did you see that? Everyone saw that, right?
Yeah.
The guy from the crowd so Mark Normand was there, and he was talking about how cool it was to be in like the festival of comedians of that stature. And I got to talk to him. So like, I'm basically best friends with Chappelle through Mark Normand. The 6 degrees of separation.
Oh, dope.
I'm just joking. That was silly. But so do you use other people, like famous people, to advertise any of your stuff? Did you have to do that with Herbal Ecstacy?
So we teach Robert Cialdini's principles of influence, and we teach it in accordance to digital marketing. So we teach how influence works when you're selling something online. And one of the forms of influence, the great forms of influence, is authority. The problem with celebrities is that some celebrities can sell something some of the time, but not all celebrities can sell everything all the time. So if you've got a celebrity, let's say somebody like a George Clooney or a Johnny Depp, right? Well, they might be able to sell Nespresso, or what is it? Clooney, I think, sells Nespresso, right? He might be a good salesperson for Nespresso, tequila, stuff like that. But when it comes to selling children's books, they might not be the best sellers. Or you look at somebody like the greatest salesperson of all time, Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians. They sell those things for chicks not to look fat. What is it?
Right, Spanx kind of stuff.
Those things, or that kind of stuff. Perfect, right? They sell vitamins that make your butt look big or small, or I don't know, whatever the desirable mode of butts are these days. Cool. I believe they could sell that, right? Do you think they could sell a car? You're pushing it, right? Do you think they could sell educational
computer
course?
Yeah, exactly, because I think they could lay on a car and maybe sell the car, but maybe not like an educational course.
So and then you have to look at relative cost, right? Because they're hugely successful selling beauty, cosmetics, and those kinds of things. So you'd be paying a lot and that person might not work for you. So what might work better is a micro influencer, somebody who's very specific, right? Like, so in your case, getting an MMA guy who maybe isn't McGregor or Khabib, but maybe somebody who's just up and coming. And being able to do that, get one of these guys, like get a style bender before he becomes style bender, boom, you know, you're set. So, there's ways to do that as far as authority marketing goes. But again, I come back to podcast, man. When we do this show right now, this is going to live forever on the internet. Somebody a year from now, from our recording date of this, could listen to this and go, wow, something those two dudes said really resonated with me. I'm going to reach out. And that's why it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's constantly producing results over a long course of time. And I really like that.
Yeah, and we clip this up. We take the little pieces of the best content. We put that out there. So you have little clips there. You got the full thing here with links to all of our websites and, you know, courses. So we'll definitely put your email on there. With Herbal Ecstacy, I remember that time. And we might be like the same age. I graduated in 96, but you didn't graduate. But
how old are you?
44.
Okay, I'm 47. So I'm a little bit older than you. Similar.
You look great. You take care of yourself.
Thanks, buddy.
You're rich.
Because I'm rich, and even if I was poor, which I wouldn't be. It's a terrible injustice to yourself to be poor in America. So don't be poor in America.
This is the land of opportunity. There's fucking no excuses, especially with an immigrant mentality. That's the thing that American-born Americans are missing is they're like coddled and they're soft. They don't have what it takes. Maybe I was born here, but also I remember like my great grandfather was an immigrant, and I remember seeing him in his ranch and the work he did and getting. I don't know. Maybe it's just innate. Some people are different. But it seems like a lot of people just don't have, they don't feel like they have to do it. And immigrants come in and they're like ready and willing and happy to do it. Like they're happy to work.
Yeah, because we're not fucking entitled, man.
Right.
We're not entitled to shit. We fucking come here. We're willing to work for, whatever it takes. People think, oh, just because I'm from this country, I'm entitled. Bullshit, man. Bullshit. Right? Nobody's entitled to anything.
No, I don't care what skin color you are, what race, gender. You got to pay your dues and, reap the rewards because it's there. It's the American dream is still possible, rags to riches. That's
live and kicking, baby.
So we're coming up on the hour, and I do appreciate you coming on here. I just want to go back again one more time to the Herbal Ecstacy, and just the timing of that was on point because, like you said, everyone was clubbing and ecstasy, and they were buying your thing. How did you, like, in a few minutes, how did you do that?
Yeah, well, short story. I walked into a club, walked up to the biggest, baddest drug dealer, and I said, dude, you're selling my stuff. And there was a moment where I was like, you know what? This guy is probably going to fucking kill me. It's been nice knowing you guys. I'm fucking out. And then I realized my feet were literally glued to the ground, and I was staring this guy down until he agreed to sell my stuff. And he started selling my natural legal version of ecstasy instead of his drugs. And then we went from one guy to 10 guys to hundreds to thousands of dudes all over the world, drug dealers being legitimized, selling herbal ecstasy. And once that happened, all bets were off.
I love it. That's very cool. I have a friend of mine. He owns a kava bar. I don't know if you've ever heard of kava.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Hypermethysticum, the narcotic plant of the South Pacific.
The South Pacific herbal tea. It makes you calm and relaxed. They call it an herbal Xanax. But he's like a drug dealer. He's like my friend. But he, it's a gray line. But there's a lot of money, and the residual, the repetitive, recurring purchases of a consumable, that's a thing people don't consider. when you're creating a product, if it's something people are only going to buy once in their lifetime, good luck, maybe. But consumables, wearables, underwear, for instance, it's something people, at least you'll be able to come back to. Do you keep that in mind when you're selling stuff on Amazon, or what kind of products do you pick for your repertoire?
Well, I mean, every product that we sell on Amazon is going to be something that's going to be renewable. Like one of our big products is matcha tea. We make a brand called Matcha DNA. If anybody wants to check that out on Amazon, it's the number one selling matcha tea in the world right now.
Oh, I love that.
And it's great. And people use it all the time. It's one of our best selling products. But we sell a lot of different products, and sometimes it's okay if you got the right margins to have something where you're selling it once. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, totally. But are a lot of your products self-branded, or are you like selling other people's stuff?
No, we only sell our own stuff. Yeah, we only sell our own stuff. Yeah, AI only sells our own stuff. We've got other clients who sometimes hire us and we help them. So somebody like SHEATH could come to us and be like, hey, we need help. We want to be ranked number one underwear brand on Amazon. And then we charge some ungodly amount of money and we do the work, and, we get them ranked and, all that stuff. But in general,
do you have a page where all of your products are on Amazon?
No, heck no. You don't want everybody knowing where all your stuff is.
I don't know. Well, because I didn't even know companies had pages until my dude said, go to, we have a SHEATH underwear page on Amazon. Yeah. So just curious. You go product solos. They're all individually compartmentalized. Yeah, you can, like Matcha DNA has a page on Amazon. If you want to look at Matcha DNA, Accelerol has a page. So the different companies, they each have their own, they have their own page and their own stuff going on. So you can check them out online. Accelerol? Yeah, Accelerol. I think we're sold out now, but they might be releasing some more this week, so you can check that out. EXCELEROL. Yeah, spelled it right. Yeah, spell it just like it sounds. Now, I know we're leaving here. One more second. I have this sticker of this company On It. Have you ever heard of On It? Joe Rogan and Aubrey Marcus's company. Yeah, great company. Yeah. Do you sell? It sounded like you sold a nootropic similar to the. I actually think we may have been on the market before Alpha Brain. Accelerol, I think, certainly was, or around the same time, and they're part of the same industry that we're in. And I've never tried that product, but I heard great things about it. So, and look, I have no problem with competition in the marketplace, and even more so, I think competition helps us and it helps us thrive. And so I am always all for let's all get together and see how we can be better together. I feel like with underwear, there's only I don't give anybody idea. There's probably 500 different underwear companies. That might sound like a lot, but within a world of billions, it's a small pool of people. And people that have our same pouch kind of technology it's even a smaller pool. It's like 10. But having these other competitors with us, it validates our proof of concept for the product itself, the pouch, underwear, and the separation aspect. So I kind of like it because people are like, oh, I tried Saks, which is one of our competitors. And I'm like, oh, that's great, because. What are they called? Saks, SAXX, like balls. I don't wear something called Saks. Come on. No, it's not cool. It's not as cool as SHEATH. We're really happy with our branding, and that's a whole other angle we could probably go on for sure. Well, let's do it again. Let's do it again. I'd love for us to get on and chat some more, and then dude, let's get you. Check out Podcast Cola. Book a time with me. Go on podcastcola.com and book a time with me, and let's start fucking getting you doing 100%. Amazing shows talking about SHEATH. I think I've got a really cool angle that we could pitch that at, and it'll be the cheapest marketing, the highest ROI you will ever see. I love it. I'm podcastcola.com. I'm there. I'm going to set up a time. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be able to speak with you. Everyone, click the link and you can find out more about our man Shaahin right here and everything he's done. Amazing story. Thank you again for your time. I hope you have a great weekend. And this will come out on the 23rd of this month, May 23rd. So we'll send you a link.
Wow, I'm excited. And then when we talk, let's talk about getting your stuff in some studios too, because you should be in all the jiu-jitsu studios and all their little, where they have a little merch bar.
Oh yeah,
is where you should be. So let's talk about that.
I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Cool, man.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Have a good weekend. Bye, everyone.
Bye.